74 Boxing Aficionados, coming at you with another video. And before I begin, please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. Hit the like button and leave a comment below. So today, I want to talk to you guys about the jab, okay? The jab, in my opinion, is the most important punch in boxing. The jab is the basis of all punches. So what I mean by that is that you need the jab in order to set up for some of the other punches. So you need a jab to set up for the right cross. You need a jab to set up for the overhand right. You need a jab to set up for a hook. All right? You need a jab to set up for an uppercut. So whatever your big shot is, you need a jab to be able to set that, to be able to set the punch up. Now, the first thing to know about a jab is that the jab is like a feeler. Okay, it's a range finder. It's a feeler and a range finder. So when you are trying to, let me turn this around a little bit. Okay, so when you are trying to establish your fighter's distance, when you're trying to figure out what your range is, the way you figure out your range is with your jab, okay? And typically, I guess you can say the longer your arm reach is, the more range you will have, the bigger advantage you'll have over your opponents. So, but the jab is a feeler. It's a range finder. And if you notice, some fighters start off, they're not throwing the jab like that. Most of them, they're doing like this. They're trying to figure out what their range is, right? They're trying to figure out their range. It's a range finder and it's a feeler. The jab is also going southpaw now. That the jab is also an offensive and a defensive tool. So, like for instance, if you have a shorter fighter, or a fighter that or even a fighter that doesn't have as good of a jab as you do, and they're trying to come in and they're trying to throw a pump hook, they're trying to throw body shots or something like that. The jab, you'll see a lot of taller fighters like Lennox Lewis, for instance. People like Tyson Fury. These fighters, they're using the jab. And you even saw Muhammad Ali doing his prime. Joe Frazier will be coming in, and Muhammad Ali is just flickering the jab to keep Joe Frazier off of him. So it's an offensive and it's a defensive tool. The jab can also be used kind of like a stiff arm in football. You used to see Muhammad Ali just sticking his jab out, just sticking his arm out there. Now, of course, depending on who the referee is, depending on who's officiating the fight, the referee is going to tell the fighter that they can't do that. But oftentimes, depending on who the referee is, depending on the type of tactics that's used in the fight, sometimes the referee will allow it to happen. Now, the jab is also, in my opinion, it's one of the most high percentage punches too. And one of the reasons why it's such a high percentage punch is the way you are supposed to throw the jab. And if you throw the jab correctly, even in a street fight, okay? Because this is what we're talking about. Again, like I said in the previous video, when I was this is a boxing for self-defense video. As I talked about, mentioned in my previous video, realistically, many of you guys are not going to become professional boxers. So these are tools that you can utilize out in the street. And I'm gonna tell you, not all people who you may encounter in the street fight, not many of them people not many of those individuals, I said them people, not many of those individuals are going to have fight experience. So if you have a good enough jab, you can actually make those people quit, just from your jab. So again, the jab has to be thrown properly. So the first thing to keep in mind about a jab, the first mentality to have about a jab is that you have to look at the jab as a whip. As a whip. The way Stewie and Family Guy says, a whip. You have to look at it as a whip and not a club. Okay? So, it's not like this. It's not like this. And now I see some people, they even throw it like this. They come all the way back from, it's not, that's a club. It's a whip. It's a whip. It's a whip. So you are snapping it. You're snapping it. You don't want to push it. So when I was talking about that, people push it. You don't push it, and you definitely don't want to paw it. Because if you paw it, you can get countered. Okay? Floyd Mayweather's pull counter. The pull counter is designed specifically for people who paw their jabs. If you do not want to paw your jab, you do not want to throw a lazy jab. That's how you get caught. Now, in my years of teaching self-defense, in my years of showing people the jab, typically when it comes to the jab, I usually don't recommend people using their fist. Okay? And the reason why is because in using your fist, how long do most fights last? Most fights don't last that long. A lot of fights, they last under a minute. Okay? There's a good chance that if you don't know how to punch and you use your fist, you can get one of those boxer's fractures. And so the boxer's fracture is where you break one of these two bones right here in the finger. These are real painful, and they will cause your hand to swell up real bad. If you break it and you know you broke it, right? Especially if you didn't get an adrenaline dump, you are going to feel it right away, and it is going to hurt. It's going to make you not want to throw a punch. So typically what I recommend people do, so remember the fighting stance I taught? This foot goes straight forward like this. This foot is, and then the knees are slightly bending. You don't want to lock your knees. You want to be slightly bent. You want to be athletic. But hands up like this. Hands up like this. And it's just like that. And when you strike, you get out of the way. You don't leave it out there. In boxing, you want to hit it and get right back out of the way. You want to hit it, withdraw. Don't leave this out here. The reason why in street fights, I want people to use their hands is because if you use it and you use it as a stiff arm, you can also like get them with the finger in the eye. You may be able to catch them in the eyeball or something. You may also be able to thumb them in the eyeball. I don't care how much you bench press. You can't bench press with your eyeball. So coming from here, now some target areas with the jab. Some of the target areas, in my opinion, where you want to go with the jab, you want to go for the eye. You want to go for the bridge of the eye. You want to go for so right here above the eyebrow, because if you can cut them right here, blood will come down here, blind the eye. You also can get them in the eyeball. You also want to go for the bridge of the nose. Bridge of the nose, and the reason why you want to go for these particular areas, again, you can cut them right here. Right here, you can detach a retina. You know, you can poke an eye out. Right here, bridge of the nose. This is very painful right here, even with the jab. How many of you have broken a nose before? So, breaking a nose, sometimes even getting hit in the nose hard enough, sometimes you get hard enough, it feels like you broke it. That your opponent may not have broken your nose, but it just feels like the nose is broken. So just the feeling of it, that's enough to be like, for a person to be like, I quit, right? Another target area, believe it or not, this is a place that has a lot of sensitivity, a lot of nerves. And if you're fighting a person with bad teeth, you know, bad brittle teeth, you can actually knock a tooth out. How many people will stop just because their tooth got knocked out? But right here, you get a fat lip, you get a split lip, you get teeth knocked out, and get your lip cut from the inside because of the tooth, you know, the fist or the palm of the hand hitting here, causing this lip to split. That'll cause for someone to quit. Another good area to aim for is the chin. Another good area to aim for is the bicep. I remember Roy Jones fought this guy, and he kept jabbing him to the biceps. He was jabbing him in the biceps, tore the dude's bicep from constantly jabbing it. So and this is so some additional targets. You know, we talked about the eye, we talked about the bridge of the nose, we talked about the lip, we talked about the chin, we also talked about the biceps. Another good target for the jab is the solar plexus. So again, the solar plexus, you also have the diaphragm here. The solar plexus is actually a very, it's painful. And some people's jabs are like power punches. Someone like Lennox Lewis, someone like Riddick Bowe, their jabs are like power shots. Deontay Wilder, you know, he had a real stiff jab too against Tyson Fury for the first few rounds of their third fight. You know, and aiming for the solar plexus, that's going to knock the wind out of your opponent. A few of those, you know, the body can only take so much. After a few of those, man, you know, that person, their breathing is becoming labored. That person is likely to get tired a lot faster. Some people aren't. Some people react different from those types of body punches. So solar plexus is also a good area. Another good area is the groin. Hit the average man hit the average man in the privates with the jab and see what happens. So that's another good area. Stick and move. That's another good area. How are they going to respond to it? Another spot, surprisingly, where now I wouldn't recommend this all the time, but another spot that was effective, I remember in the UFC fight, Benson Henderson was fighting Nate Diaz. He was hitting Nate Diaz in the thigh with jabs, and they were having some effect against Nate Diaz. So really, like in Krav Maga, one of the things that's taught in Krav Maga is that if you have you hit hard against soft and soft against hard. So, you know, again, I can see where the effectiveness will be hitting someone in the thigh muscle, quadriceps with a jab. I can see how that will hurt. That person will definitely be sore the next morning. So another thing in terms of the body mechanics with the jab, what you want to do, you want a winding, the technique, of course the jab is going to be, this hand up front, but what you want to do, you want to have a winding motion with the shoulders, it's going to be like a winding motion. It's not a push. It's not a push. It's not a paw. It's not a club. It's a whip. And so you see the winding motion up here from the shoulders. Now also what's going to happen right here is that this shoulder, if you're doing it properly, this shoulder is going to be protecting the chin. Body mechanics, natural body movement, this is going to be tucked in, protecting the chin from a right hand. Now, the temple may be exposed. The temple may be exposed. So that's why it's so important, you want to stick and move. You don't want to stay in there. There are some variations. I want to show you a couple of things. So, you know what? Let's have some fun with this. First variation is going to be with this. This is a baton. Depending on what state you're in, this baton is going to require a concealed carry license. So this baton, you have it like this, right? You have it like this, and you ain't gotta be like this. You ain't gotta be like this. So you can just have it like this, and you can just throw it like that. This is metal. This is gonna hurt. Okay? So from here, and look, this is showing you the proper motion of the jab. Again, the jab is not a club, it's a whip. When you have something like this in your hand, you can hit with this part, or you can hit with the very tip of this. In Filipino martial arts, we teach people are taught to hit. So if you're gonna hit the leg, you want to hit with the end. You want to hit with the tip. Now I'm not gonna damage this punching bag because this is a new punching bag. So I'm not gonna be hitting with this one. But with Filipino martial arts, you teach people to hit with this, right? With a jabbing motion, you want to have it like this. Right? So, just whip, not, so, okay, anyway. Another variation. This is pretty cool too. I have to do this. Another variation, you have keys. So women, you don't have to throw punches like this. You can just throw a jab. Have the keys right here. Jab to the face. So have the keys right here. Jab to the face. And I already showed you another motion. I already showed you the other motion from right here. So that concludes the lesson for today with the jab. Let me know if you like these videos where I'm talking about boxing for self-defense. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, subscribe to the channel. Smash the like button. Thank you guys for watching. Holler at you guys later. Peace.